News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Well, here we go. Vulnerable Senate Dems are lukewarm on reported White House plan for Palestinian refugees. And it's not just one or two Democrats. It's more than that. So we have several things here. We have John Tester, a Democrat from Montana, who's very vulnerable. So he doesn't want to get sunk over this. He says, I've been very clear that allowing anyone to enter the country without being properly vetted and going through a legal process undermines our national security, and that neighboring countries in the region, including Egypt and Jordan, should play a leading role in taking in refugees. They don't want Palestinians in Egypt. They don't want them in Jordan. They don't want them in any Middle East country. Nobody in the Middle East, no Muslim nations want Palestinians. Why? I know the exact answer about Egypt, because Palestinians, this is where the Muslim Brotherhood is, and it's very strong. And Egypt has gone to great lengths to capture, kill, jail, or kick out any Muslim Brotherhood because they're terrorists. And that is one of the big reasons why no one in the Middle East, no Muslim country, not even Iran, who has funded and is responsible for helping the Hamas, training them, arming them, giving them all the finances and money and everything to be able to kill the Jews on October 7th and that terrorist attack. They don't want them either. Nobody wants them. Lebanon to the north doesn't want them. To the south, Egypt doesn't want them. And to the east, the West Bank, it's kind of funny saying to the east, but it's the West Bank. But to the east, the West Bank does not want them, saying they'll take them in. Although they're there too, obviously, but nobody wants them. And we're supposed to take them? Do you want, and that's my question for you, do you want Palestinians to come to the U.S.? Joe Biden's plan, when I read it, said, last time I read about it, when the story first broke, said he wants to bring in 100,000 Palestinians. So my question is, do you want Palestinians to come to the United States of America? Do you want 100,000 of these Palestinians fleeing the war? Do you want us to take them in and let them become citizens eventually? And do you trust Palestinians not to hate America and not to hate Jews? I do not trust them at all, not one of them. None of them. And you want to have there's several reasons why. Number one, 72% of every Palestinian surveyed after the October 7th terror attacks by Hamas, 72% of them all said they support Hamas. After they raped, murdered, mutilated, beheaded, they raped babies, they raped underage girls, they raped women, young girls, they gang raped and killed 260 people or 240 people at the Nova Festival. It was a peace festival. And these women that they gang raped at the festival, one of them, they sliced her breast off, played with it, and threw it on the ground while she was alive and being raped. Another one, they shot her in the head towards the end of the rape while they were raping her. And then after this, they would literally, like wicked satanic beasts, they would literally gently mutilate the dead woman's body they just raped, like a sick satanic, like the spawn of Satan, like an immature 5 or 20-year-old, immature 5 or 12 or 15-year-old satanic offspring of Satan, trashing the thing they just raped, the person. I'm sorry, they just raped. This is a satanic cult. Hamas is a satanic cult. Remember the audio intercepts of a Hamas member? I played it for you on the air. Dad, I killed the Jews. I killed 10 Jews. Dad, Mom, look at your son. I killed 10 Jews. And they go, oh, that's so awesome. You want them to come here? Can you imagine how excited they'll be to say they killed 10 Americans or 50 Americans? And look at the first Palestinian member of Congress we have in America, Rashida Tlaib, who hates Jews and loves terrorists. Hell no. Excuse my language, but hell no. Do you want Palestinians to come to the United States And do you trust Palestinians to not hate Americans and Jews? And do you want these 100,000 plus Palestinians to come in that Joe Biden wants to come in? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Not only has Democrat John Tester up for re-election this fall in Montana said no, Sherrod Brown, a very liberal Democrat from Ohio, says the White House and Biden's administration should keep its focus on bigger prize. The bigger prize, says the Politico broke this story today. The administration should be focused on reaching an agreement that ends the fighting, frees the hostages, and gets much-needed humanitarian aid for Gaza. So that's a no from 2 Democrat senators. And there's more. By the way, I don't know, one that's not mentioned in here, but I would guess would not want them, is John Fetterman, of all people. Remember John Fetterman, how, he was a vegetable for some time, but he's come back mostly, it sounds like to me, good for him. I don't wish ill will on anybody, but he's been the most staunch advocate of Israel, and he's like super liberal on so many things, right? So this guy is rapidly calling out these Islamists and left-wingers on campuses rioting and doing violent things. In fact, when they protested him in his office or his apartment, he went up on the roof. Do you remember this? And he unfurled an Israeli flag. So I love that, and good for him. I've gotten so much more respect out of him. I've gotten so much more respect for him than I ever did. So it's not just 2 or 3 Dems; it's even more. With 6 months left until Election Day, the Politico says Democrats and from red and purple states are hesitant to stick their neck out for the plan. We've got, listen to this, Senate Democrat Jackie Rosen from Nevada, which Nevada is now in play for Trump, which is, I still don't think it's going to go Trump, don't get me wrong, but the numbers have said 6 points up. Last time I saw, it might be different now, but Nevada, he's up by like 6 or 10 points, which is, I just can't imagine that, and he's never had a chance of winning it, but maybe he will this time, I don't know. But so you've got Jackie Rosen, a Democrat from Nevada, senator, who's increasingly competitive race. She's focused on ensuring the safe release of hostages held by Hamas and closely monitoring the current negotiations. So she literally has not said she endorses it at all. She says, she goes on, at the same time, more must be done to reduce civilian casualties and provide humanitarian assistance, which is why I'm encouraged to see the dramatic increase in aid being delivered. But it's still not. And then Alyssa Slotkin, Democrat for the nominee for Michigan Senate race, appears to keep a fairly neutral tone, even though she's in heavily Muslim Michigan. She said the U.S. has a long-standing program to vet and allow entry for refugees. It's long applied to Palestinians in some circumstances. The Congresswoman expects that to continue. So, in other words, in line with the plans. So she doesn't want new. She does whatever the plans are. She wants to keep. So that's a no without saying it because she's got a heavy Muslim population. So that's where we're at. I don't want any Palestinians coming here. Not one. Not one. And they voted for Hamas twice. They can enjoy Hamas. They are receiving the fruits of their labor. I don't want a family who has their child raised up on Mein Kampf when you find it in their room and there's notes and highlights throughout the book in a child's room. That's what Hamas is, and that's what 72% of Palestine is. Maybe you'll be lucky to get 5-10% that would be perfect, but I don't want them. I don't trust them. Nope. And it's totally okay to lie so you can get over here and hate Jews and hate America. Absolutely not do I want them. No. All right, 800-288-WBAP is our number. That's 800-288-9227. Coming up next on the Chris Crock Show, illegal immigration. Listen to this. A Democrat Senate candidate tells illegal immigrants, he's from, guess what, North Texas. He's running for Senate against Ted Cruz. And he's telling illegals, he's handing out and telling them how to evade law enforcement. He's a Democrat running against Ted Cruz for Senate. He's the Democrat candidate. And he's telling illegals how to evade law enforcement. There's your moderate Democrat who's a lying moderate. He's not a moderate. He supports abortion. He voted to impeach President Trump, and he's teaching illegals how to avoid us and not work with law enforcement. That's who this guy is. I'll tell you who he is. And surprise, Biden has tweaked his asylum policies, not so he can lower the number of illegals he's letting in, so he can keep them flowing in massive numbers of millions, but so that we don't see that. He hides it. So he's not stopping. He's just going to hide it more so you don't see it in the last 6 months before he hopes to get the election. And more. That's coming up next on the Chris Kroc Show, including top border officials saying Biden appointees silenced them for years. All that's next. Chris Kroc Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3, 800-288 WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. All right, we have some really interesting stuff on illegal invasion. The Biden illegal invasion has been going on for 3.5 years now. It's just so disgusting what this man's done to our country. The people that are raping us across this country, our daughters, our wives, and killing us, our daughters, our wives, and us men. There's so many off the top of my head I could read to you or tell you, but I'm just going to get in with what we have here because Joe Biden's just hurt this country so badly. He tweaks the asylum rules to minimize media coverage of the criminal migrants, says Breitbart. They're tweaking the asylum rules, and it's getting good headlines for Biden, saying, he's going to clamp down on the illegal border crossings. But the AP admitted, and they're rabidly pro-illegals, the AP admitted that the four sources also said the proposal affects a relatively small universe of illegal migrants and those who would not be qualified to receive asylum protections anyway. So they're not even doing anything. They're just getting headlines. And they're going to keep flooding our country. There's no let up in sight. There hasn't been, and there will never be. This is Joe Biden's policy. His policy is massive invasion to do the replacement theory, to replace Republicans with actually it's twofold. It is to the census includes illegals, and that's got to be changed. So they're flooding the census, and a lot of them going to major urban areas that are blue. And what that does is it gets more congressmen in blue areas and in blue states. And what that means is it's harder and harder for the Republicans to win the House. So, anyways, they're probably doing this rule change now because they think they released somebody who was criminally bad, says one of the experts on this from the Center for Immigration Studies. All of this suggests there's more going on than the administration is telling us. Yeah, because this is a horrible, disgusting thing. We all have a Laken Raleigh in our family, whether it be in our personal family, like my sweet, beautiful daughter and her sweet, dear friend who's over, staying with us for several nights. These girls are precious, and they're a gift, and nothing is more enraging than what Joe Biden did to Laken Riley and has done to our wives and women, rapes, and our daughters, including profoundly disabled people in Massachusetts, flown in directly from Haiti to rape our disabled and people. And it's just, there's so many of them. They're all running through my head right now because I've read them to you. Meanwhile, Colin Allred, who pretends to be a moderate and your friend, he is not. He voted to impeach Donald J. Trump. Colin Allred also votes for rabid abortion policies, totally all the way pedal to the metal. And he's passing out Know Your Right cards. Listen to this, Know Your Rights cards. Colin Allred handed out Know Your Rights cards. He's running against Ted Cruz, by the way, and he's from North Texas. Unfortunately, he took Pete Sessions' old seat in the House. But Colin Allred handed out the Know Your Rights cards to illegals during a campaign event with the Dallas County Democrat Party in early May while he's running for the seat against Ted Cruz. When asked about the distribution, and I've got the card where it says, and it's disgusting, and it's revolting, and it's angering. When asked about handing out these cards, Colin Allred, like always, like a good, super woke leftist, Trump-hating Democrat who votes with Biden and Pelosi lockstep 100%, he did not respond to Fox News. He will not. He wants to get the illegals invasion into this country so that we can have Democrats everywhere running this country. Take away power from Republicans with illegals. He passed this card out to illegals. Ready? Do not open the door if an immigration agent is knocking at the door. Colin Allred endorses illegals violating law and interacting with immigration officers, even Joe Biden's. Another thing on the card that Colin Allred passed out to illegals this year when he's running against Ted Cruz for Senate: do not answer any questions from an immigration agent. If they try to talk to you, you have the right to remain silent. It also included on the card distributed by Colin Allred: do not say anything, and if you are outside of your home, ask the agent if you are free to leave, and if they say yes, leave calmly. There you go. Colin Allred is absolutely coaching, training up illegals to defy law, to hide from the authorities, and to not cooperate with them. Colin Allred, I rebuke you in the strongest terms. And I'm going to tell you right now, Colin Allred is very dangerous because he comes across as a nice, kind, moderate Democrat, and he's a pretty good-looking guy, and he's a former NFL guy. Hey, look at me. I'm your friend. I'm like the astronaut. What's the guy in Arizona, Mark Kelly? It's Mark Kelly. I'm like the astronaut, Mark Kelly. Look at me. I'm a super moderate Democrat. No, you're not. You're an enemy. You're an enemy to our country and to the future and development of our country and growth of our country. So do you like Colin Allred's stance on helping illegals to evade law enforcement? That's my question for you. Do you like Colin Allred's stance on helping illegals to evade law enforcement? Do you support passing out cards telling them to not work with law enforcement, to leave them and not to cooperate in any way, shape, or form? Is that what you want, running our United States Senate for Texas, representing it? Also want to share one more thing. Joe Biden has shut out Border Patrol officials, silenced them for years. This is an exclusive from the Washington Examiner. It's 7 pages. I won't go into detail, but I will tell you this. The recently retired second-in-command of the U.S. Border Patrol says Biden intentionally blocked him and others from engaging with the public. And there's more. He's one of 3 current and former senior federal law enforcement officials at the top of the 20,000-member organization of the Border Patrol who told the Washington Examiner, 3 current and former senior Border Patrol people told the Washington Examiner that they believe they were purposely kept out of the public eye at the White House's order. We were not allowed to speak to media without HQ approval. It was almost always denied. Office of Public Affairs at HQ, they have final say on all media engagements. Before that, the sector chiefs had the ability. So you hear this? Under Trump, the sector chiefs could talk directly to the media. Trump is open. Biden, no. I don't want anything. I don't want anybody knowing. I want this invasion, people getting beaten, raped on the border and in our country. I want it all hidden. The Trump administration came in and they actually expanded and freed up communications significantly, said Rodney Scott, the former Border Patrol chief. It was a very, very decisive 180-degree turn with the Biden administration, but all national media has been restricted. I wasn't allowed to talk to anybody. This is Joe Biden. Get the 12 million illegals smuggled in. It'll be 15 by the time he's done in 4 years, and shut out the Border Patrol from speaking. That's what he does. That's who he is. Colin Allred loves it. He's passing out those cards. All right, now, coming up next to the Chris Crock Show. This is going to be fun. Producer Garrett and I have been waiting to play this one for you. You cut up the audio for this, and you loved it. The comedian, there's a stand-up comedian, never heard of him, but I can guarantee you this post, and it's on my Twitter feed. I'm going to play it for you, though, so you don't have to find it if you don't want to. But this stand-up comedian was doing his routine, and he asked the person in the audience that was, engaging with him, what do you do for work? And the person said, I'm a staffer for Joe Biden, and hilarity ensues. I've got all the audio coming up next. Well, you don't want to miss this on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. Our number, 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. This is great. A comedian, stand-up comedian, was out and about. Oh, he was out and about. He was on his tour doing a show, and he found out he was having how this comedian will engage people in the audience sometimes, and he did that. And unfortunately, the person he engaged worked for the Biden administration, and he went to town on Biden. It was awesome, and it was not negative or nasty, which made it even better because it was like nobody booed him or got mad at him. They laughed. So what that is here's what that is, right? That's what the left doesn't understand about Trump and people and comedy. Just because you hate Trump doesn't mean it's funny. If you say something funny about him, even if it's like picking on him or something like that, or ridiculing him in a way that's not mean and whatever, but just for comedy's sake. If you start with the premise of I want to make people laugh, and then you happen to have a joke about Trump, that's great. There's no sacred cows, so it's not like anybody who's got a brain should not be mad about that. There's no off limits. Just don't start with the premise of I hate Trump. How can I write stuff to make fun of him? And that's what the left does, and that's bad comedy. So nobody got mad at this guy because he wasn't being a jerk. He was just reacting naturally and marveling at this person. How could you possibly say that you work in the Biden administration? How could anybody want to say that? It's great. Enough of that. Enough for me. Enough of me. Let's play that audio. This is fantastic. We had to bleep out a lot of stuff, but here it is.
Nick, what do you do for a living now? You work for the Biden administration. Is your job to wake them up, or what's your job? Hey! There's a war! Hey! Okay, what do you do for the Biden administration? What a show of a job you have. I can't believe you admitted that in front of all these people. You have the freedom to lie. You could have said you were a hooker and I would have been prouder of you. What do you do?
I travel to southern states.
What the are you talking about? That's your job is to go, hey, listen, I know you guys like Trump, but Biden, wow. Are you ready to be unemployed, or what's your vibe?
Isn't that great? So, and this obviously, I want to go, this is on my Twitter feed for you to watch. So I want you to check it out. You might have to scroll down a little bit. Let me pull it up on my feed. I'm scrolling down, and it's just great. You gotta scroll down a little ways here, but it's in there, and it is absolutely hysterical. And then there's also another one I want to play for you, which is Michael Rappaport. You know who he is? People in the age bracket of 30s, 40s, 50s, and I think probably 40s, 50s and above know who he is. He's been in a lot of big movies, but for the past 10, 15 years, he's been kind of but he's been in some huge movies in the earlier years, in the 80s and 90s and above. But, you look at his IMDb, which is like the work he's done, and the work itself is he's even when he's been off the radar for the past 10 years, he's still got a couple projects a year he's got on there, cartoon voicing and other things. So anyways, I'll play what he said. It's amazing. Anyways, the stand-up comedian I just played for you, his name is Josh Ocean Thomas. He was good, just spontaneously working the crowd. So he was miming a fictional Biden staffer trying to get the president's attention. Hey. Anyways, I love this. He captioned the video that he released. This was my only option. That's so funny. Oh, that's good. Oh, okay. And they actually mentioned Michael Rappaport. Anti-Trump comedian Michael Rappaport torched the president in a video he shared on Twitter Thursday. That'd be yesterday, in which he officially declared he could not be supporting Biden's reelection. He did before he endorsed him before. You're going to hear that. I'm going to play that right now. He calls Joe Biden a cadaver. And he says he can never vote for him. He said he voted for him last time, but he won't do it now because of what he did to Israel, cut him off. This is actually a fantastic piece of audio from actor and comedian Michael Rappaport, who is Jewish. Not that it matters, it's still, but just so you know, he's extra passionate for obvious reasons.
Smoking Joe Biden. Cadaver Joe Biden. You know who I am. You know my work. I'm the one who I'm the one who invented stain Donald Trump. Pig Donald Trump. That's me. That's my work. I didn't ask for a thank you. I didn't ask for an invite to the White House, and everybody and anybody shows up at the White House these days. I did it for the love. I did it for the love because I couldn't stand that and you dumb old you have the You bet old you. You're not sending weapons to Israel during a war while American hostages and hostages from 22 countries are still in that You're not sending weapons now, you dumb You, let me tell you something. I never, ever thought I would say this, okay? But I could promise you this right now. Smoking Joe Biden, Cadaver Joe Biden, me, Michael Rappaport, I'm not voting for you. You're not getting my vote. And plenty of us also ain't voting for you, you. I said it once, and I'll say it again. This is why voting for stain Donald Trump, pig Donald Trump, is on the table.
So you have a far left celebrity actor who, and I'm going to tell you right now, I can guarantee he's got a massive following because he still is quite the character. I don't agree with him on any political things 9 times out of 10 except for that. But let's look him up on how many he's got. That's a nice way to see how many. Here we go. Wait. Man, I can't. I don't know how to. Anyways, it's interesting. Okay, I'll find him here. There he is. Okay, this is him. Let's see how many people. Yeah, he's got 688,000 followers. So he's that level of people like an actor, comedian, director, disruptor, podcaster. He says, okay. Anyway, yeah, that's bad because he hated Trump. He said vile things about him. Remember that? But now he actually is openly saying, and he said this before, like a couple months ago, that he's openly saying, I actually might vote for Trump, which is, I mean, that's unbelievable. Unbelievable. For a hard left Trump, it's just vile Trump hater, like from the gut, visceral Trump hater. Okay. All right, we got some fun stuff too, because I always like to finish this third hour with some fun stuff if possible, especially on a Friday night. I like to spice it up a little bit before we get back to some hardcore stuff. Michigan woman found living inside of a grocery store sign with computer, desk, and coffee maker. This is amazing. They say she's an unidentified homeless woman, but if she's got a computer and a desk and a coffee maker, she's not homeless. She just chooses to live for free off of the grocery store's electricity. Michigan woman, must get cold up there, found living inside of a sign on top of a grocery store recently in a case that local police officer said that makes you scratch your head. 34-year-old, police say she's homeless, had not only been living inside of the grocery store sign for years, she also had a desk, coffee maker, computer, and printer. She was discovered April 23rd. She's not homeless. She's got everything set up. She's got an office. She's living for free. Contractors in the Midland, Michigan store noticed somebody was running an extension cord up to the roof with a plug-in. So they followed it. And they went up there, and I don't know how she was getting up there. She didn't indicate. There's a 5-foot wide, 8-foot high sign that is accessible from the roof and of the store, and it has a door. We provided her with some information. It must be because I couldn't figure out where she was staying, but it's the sign is like a peak on the roof. So, I mean, it must be like, that's bizarre. It must be inside of the store. You know what I'm saying? Like towards the top, underneath the roof. That's bizarre. That's bizarre. Have you ever thought about living, and you've seen some things where people live inside of like a department store or like live inside of like a Walmart. You've seen that? There was something with Billy Bob Thornton where somebody was living in the Walmart. You remember that? It's always been a funny thought to say, I wonder if I could live I haven't thought that in years, but I remember like decades ago, I'd love to live inside of a department store and, food or whatever. But this woman did that. Bizarro. Hey, look, she's not homeless. She's got free food, free electricity, free water. I mean, this is insane. Smart woman. Not smart, but, slightly criminal, but smart. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Have you ever considered living in a grocery store? I'm just kidding. I'm throwing that one out there. Actually, under Bidenomics, you might be considering living in a grocery store or a department store, right? Or a Walmart, because then you got groceries and goods. Yeah, especially if he wins. Yeah. Okay, 800-288-WBAP. Up next, this is a really funny one, too. Okay, a bizarre eating habit. Something that is used for construction and stuff around your house, somebody was eating. But it has formed a big problem in his innards, and I'll tell you about that. The crazy things people eat or have the disorders with. And then zoo goers outraged to discover the panda exhibit was actually something else, dyed white and black. So it was a panda exhibit in China where they have pandas, but they didn't actually have pandas, so they had an animal and they painted it black and white. I'll tell you what it is that was discovered coming up next to the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. 800-288-WBAP is our number. That's 800-288-9227. Chris Crock Show. Okay, zoo-goers outraged to discover panda exhibit, quote-unquote, was actually dogs dyed black and white. I look at the thing. Now, I don't know what dogs they are. I'm no dog expert other than ours. But I'm going to guess that this thing is a Chow or a Pomeranian. I don't know what the thing is. I don't know. Okay. The fake pandas were unveiled May 1st. It figures it would be China. Everything they do is counterfeit and stolen. Unveiled May 1st at the, I can't pronounce it, Taizhou Zoo in Jiangsu province. They were actually Chow Chow dogs. Did I say Chow? I think I did, didn't I? Yay. So could you imagine painting it black and white and thinking it's a panda? No? You had one of them? Her name was... Okay. Wow. So you had one. Okay. And it did... Now, Garrett says it does look like a real panda. I know. I'm just kidding. He said absolutely not. I'm like, I know. I'm just kidding. Man, just messing with you, Broham. Okay. Many visitors accuse the sanctuary of animal cruelty, but zoo officials insist the dog fishing scheme isn't harmful to the animals. People also dye their hair. Natural dye can be used on dogs if they have long fur. Okay. Well, that's crazy. I think they're cute, blah, 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 blah. A decade ago, pups dressed as the bamboo-eating bears became such a hot item that pet stores could not meet demand. Oh, there you go. It's an accessory. That is not how you roll with pets, man. Come on now. All right. This from the Daily Mail. Man with bizarre habit of eating builder's foam. Builder's foam. Now, I'm guessing that's the kind that you spray and it expands, like to seal off a gap in a wall. He suffered a deadly tear in his stomach. No kidding. The sealant molded to the shape of his organs. See? Told you. He nearly lost his life, says the Daily Mail. Suffered a torn stomach when he ate a plant's pot worth of expandable foam. What does that mean, a plant's pot worth? I don't know. It sprayed a whole amount that would fill a pot of a plant. He was rushed to South Korea. This was in South Korea. Stomach pain, intentionally eating the foam. Wow. This makes me think about, when people supposedly put things up their rump and they go to the ER because it's stuck up there or something. I understand those are... I can't speak from experience. That's the worst thing in the world I would ever say. No, I didn't. I wasn't going in there. I'm just saying I can't speak from experience. What I meant was not by doing that, but by being at the hospital, okay? As former President Hussein Obama would say, let me clear. Hey, let me clear. Wow. So that's what that makes me think about. That's crazy. What did you see this today? Apple is apologizing for an iPad Pro ad. It shows a hydraulic press destroying guitars and a piano. Who cares? People are, this is unbelievably pathetic. Apple took the unusual step, CNBC says, of apologizing for a short advertising video promoting the company's new iPad Pro. Basically, you've got like a set. You got a piano, guitar, boombox, stereo, and art stuff and all this, and and paint cans and everything, and it compresses it all and shoves it into nothing. And then once it opens up, you see an iPad, the new iPad, showing all this stuff is in here. There's nothing offensive by that. It provoked derision, including extensive media coverage. I didn't see any. As viewers said that it made Apple look out of touch, and many posted the destruction of creative tools offended them. Oh my gosh, are you freaking stupid? This is the dumbest thing in the world. I'm going to retweet this video right now. Follow me on Twitter at Chris Crock Show. That's at Chris Crock Show. I think it's fine. I think it's interesting, and you can destroy things. That's what you do. How about when we smashed windows in these commercials locally for Windows? Yeehaw! Remember that one? Is anybody complaining about that? No, get out of here.